Okay, so if we look at these two setups as we discussed, one's a full shot, one is a chip shot, but pre-adjustment. Okay, and again, from the same question we asked sort of half an hour ago, there's no real difference in those two. You're kind of setting up for the same shot or for a different shot with the same setup, okay? So the right-hand one is your full swing setup. Your left-hand one is also a full swing setup, but the changes you're going to make, you bring your right foot in. Now, when I say move your hands towards the left leg, you just basically tilt them forward towards that left leg. So rather than the club shaft being on that yellow line there, it's more on that red line. Maybe not quite so far, but in that sort of area there, which you do on this thing, you'll see now, you sort of just push the hands forward there nicely. So if we clear all these now, you can see a distinct difference in terms of width of stance, how your weight now is favoured more through your left foot there, okay? And you're in a position now for a short shot. So the club then decides to go how far back the shot length needs. That's how far back you go. And again, we generally often use a clock face. People like sort of 6, 9 and 12. And at the moment, if they start the club at 6 o'clock and don't move it, the ball don't go anywhere at all. All right, fairly obvious. If we swing to 7 o'clock with a 9-9, we might get 10, 15 yards, should we say. If we go to 8 o'clock, we get 20, 25, 30. If we go 9 o'clock, we're getting 30 to 40. If we went to 10, 11, we just get more yardage. So all you simply do is you position the club on the way back where you think it is. And as long as where you think it is gives you the yardage you're trying to get, it doesn't matter whether it's up here, down here, or whatever it may be. Up there's probably unlikely there's going to be too much power. You'd have to really slow the club down. But whether it's here or here or here, doesn't matter. It's wherever you think it is, and wherever that feeling is. If the club goes here, right, okay, that gives me this yardage. So when you're in that position there now, we can just accelerate the club through and keep that weight a bit more on that left side, okay, without trying to sort of get under the ball or lift up. You see impact there now, your chest and torso and head are this side of the golf ball, yeah? They're striking down on the ball. Yeah. That's what sends the ball up in the air with a good connection to the ground and then twisting through, okay? In terms of your long game, though, as we said, I like the fact now your arms are going up. One thing I would say, just to help with the sort of synchronization of the body, as you go back, you can see your lead knee almost sort of pushing a little bit out towards target here. It's not really moving back with the body rotation, and then it kind of kicks in a little bit later. Okay, so it kind of restricts your lower half there. So you're more lifting rather than turning and lifting. But overall, the long game swing's looking good. You see your weight shift is getting onto that left side, okay? Yeah. You're probably a little bit more tilted here than you want to, and a little bit more tilted back the other way than you want. You want to be somewhere sort of in the middle here with those two kind of positions, all right? But I'd rather see if you're doing, especially on chip shots, more in that direction towards target, okay? So understand the difference between a long and a short shot, okay? We've got long shot setup, we've got short shot setup, okay? And I think you decide when you get to the golf ball and go, right, is this a long shot or a short shot? And again, arguably, there's going to be medium length shots where you're not going to, probably be somewhere where you are there now rather than that foot coming a bit closer. So it might be here, about there with your foot maybe, rather than there. Just coming in a little bit more rather than coming in the full amount that you do for a chip shot. And you'll kind of figure these things out, okay? Don't be too hung up on being, it's going to be exactly there or exactly there. As long as we're not in full shot setup, and we're in sort of a smaller shot, this could kind of function for 20, 30, up to 50, 60 yards. And then really when you get sort of 70 or 80, you're not far from a full shot with a pitching wedge. Yeah, full shot with a wedge is probably about 100 yards. So you could sort of set up fairly full, and rather than swing the golf club back for 100 yards, you swing it back for 80. Yeah, but you're always judging the distance by how far you go back, not by how hard you think you've got to hit it. Because in all honesty, a lot of people don't know how far 70 yards or 80 yards is anyway, or 30 yards or 40 yards. So you're trying to guess how far to hit the golf with no knowledge of how far that is. Yeah. If we think, okay, if I swing the golf club to here, I know based on the numbers on the screen, I go this, this, or this, or this, yeah? So small shot setup, big shot setup, small swings obviously for the short shots. Just one point to remember with the long game, as we said though, just trying to get that lower half to twist with the top half. We don't want this knee to be going out a bit too much.
Should it come in?
It should start moving in a bit more as you go back, okay? Sort of stays there and then it kind of comes in a little bit at the end. It hasn't sort of quite synced up with the turn, and just restricts your hip movement. I mean, your hips are barely moved there. So I mean, your logo on your your joggers there is kind of not really moving that much at all. We expect there to be a little bit more movement and a bit earlier movement, okay? But again, overall with the long game's good. Your arms are working higher. As we said, if you start missing the ground or topping it, or you find the ball going a little bit low left, get those arms up as high as you can.
I think that's why I don't really move my hips, because when I try it, I end up missing the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah.
I just decided to just stay
I'll just stay very still and just swing my
Yeah.
arms up and down. Yeah, which, as I say, it can function, but I think I don't want to say okay, go and get worse before you get better.
Yeah.
When you add a movement into your game, you have to think about that. So what I would suggest, I think we mentioned this last time, in your practice sessions, make your practice swings that have quite a bit more hip turn than you probably ideally want. Yeah. So you actually get used to twisting in your practice swings, and then when you step to the golf ball, then you just make your normal swing. You're not thinking about the hip movement or the arm movement or stuff in the actual real swing. Yeah. You step away from the golf ball, make an exaggerated big hip turn, big lift to the other end of the spectrum, and then when you step the golf ball, we'd hope that something between the exaggerated practice swing and your roll swing kind of finds in the middle. Yeah. Okay, mate, make sense?
Yeah.
Good man. Okay, good stuff. Right.